Do you find yourself being the agreeable one in the relationship? Would you consider you're overly giving, but a really good partner? You're very proud of the work that you do inside a relationship because you always take care of your partner's needs and you're very attentive and you're a little empathic and you know what makes them happy and you know how to keep them calm. Well, you probably just described yourself as a people pleaser. And while it's a big blanket title, it carries over into far more than just our romantic relationships. And this tendency, learned early on in childhood as a survival skill that was brilliant at the time, can oftentimes foil us in love, in that the more we do, the more we do for our partner, and the better partner we are, and the more attentive and giving and patient and kind and loving, we just get less and less for it. Our partner, who should appreciate all that we do, becomes increasingly less appreciative. They become petulant, irritable, and oh, guess what? The lovemaking ends. They start to pull back, they need more time alone, they're a little bit cranky, they're disagreeable, this kind of insolent behavior, and you up the ante because that's your instinct, right? That's your default. Well, what do I need to do to make them happy? And the remedy is just the opposite. And the cure to call in good, loving, balanced, rational partners who know how to emotionally regulate is actually all lying within our own hands. Hi there, I'm Susan Winter, and as a people pleaser, yes, lifelong people pleaser. Oh, I hate admitting these things to myself, but that's where it starts. Sometimes the attributes that we actually admire about ourselves can get in the way if they're not balanced. And the energy with which we approach a relationship and who we are and what we are willing to do for that person to earn their love, which is another people pleasing trait, the feeling that we're never enough. We're not enough. We have to earn your love. Inherently, I'm not the one to be worshiped. I have to be here for you, do for you, fix your life, everything. Be attentive to your needs. And then I'll get love. By doing all these things, the understanding in a people pleaser's mind is that when I add all this stuff to your bank, then I'll get a little interest back. And what happens is we have denied our feelings, ignored our boundaries when they've been run over, probably been mute, been a little chameleonic, being so agreeable that perhaps we haven't done things we need to do for ourselves. We haven't taken care of ourselves. We've adopted habits and hobbies that are yours because we're a nice partner. But we've negated our feelings. And we're afraid to speak up and hate confrontation. So the cure to being in an ultimately dissatisfying, one-sided relationship is a couple of steps that can easily be taken, and they'll change our energy of who we attract into our lives as well as how we feel about ourselves. Firstly, to realize that we are doing this. And while it's no fault of our own, yes, in our formative years, it was a survival technique, and we did a good job. We're here today. But now, it needs to be tempered. First, questions. Am I constantly saying I'm sorry for things that I didn't do wrong? Am I constantly taking care of their emotions, fixing their issues? Am I walking on eggshells, afraid that they'll be upset because my primary job in this relationship is to keep them calm so that I can be calm? And if you're doing these things, first thing is awareness. When you subjugate your feelings for so many years to only attend to somebody else, you can so easily lose what you need, what you want, what you feel, because you are very inconvenient when you have to be focused on them. So step number one to correct it, what do I want? What do I want in this moment in time? What am I saying yes to that I don't want to say yes to? Why am I so uncomfortable saying no? Why don't I give myself time to check in and say, can I get back to you on that? Instead of immediately saying yes to everything that's asked of me, how can I modulate my behavior to begin to reconnect with myself, honor my needs, and therefore allow for a real give and take, to not only give, but to receive, because givers, overgivers, and people pleasers are never happy in relationships. You might have noticed you've got a vat of resentments this deep because you keep giving in the future hope of getting, and you're not getting. We can adjust that. The work begins with us. 1, awareness. 2, are you automatically saying yes when you should give yourself a chance to think about whether you want to participate or do something? 2, understand their life and their emotions and the stuff that they get themselves into. That's their problem. Yes, it might directly impact you, but you've got to start to separate and give them responsibility for the actions they take. You don't need to run and heal and fix every boo-boo they have and every mistake they make in life. That's their consequence to deal with. As you begin to pare back what you need to do for them, you really up the ante on what you need to do for yourself. And I realize this can feel so horrible because people who are people pleasers have taken a very strong camp on one side. It's normally because you have lived with somebody who is so selfish, so abusive, so narcissistic that you swore as a child you were never going to be that person. So you went all the way over to this side. And guess what? You attract people all the way over to this side. You're overly responsible, you attract people that are not even functional. You're overly kind, you attract moody people that have no emotional regulation. And it goes on and on until you start to adjust on that totem pole. Boundaries. Yeah, those feelings that you get when your stomach gets hot, like the first time I noticed anger in myself, I was 40, driving a car, and my stomach got hot. And I started to piece together the things that I'd heard my boyfriend saying, and they weren't making sense. And then I realized there was a lie, a big lie. Now, to feel anger in certain families of origin, which made you a people pleaser, was not allowed. Again, you have to take care of them. So that is squashed. And beginning to identify your feelings, put words to them, and at least describe them to yourself will be the first step in creating a boundary so that you can then be able to articulate this to your partner, a family member, a coworker. And you will begin to start to feel comfortable along the way in standing up for yourself. And what you fear is controversy becomes a very simple statement. So all these factors work together. If you are constantly attracting people who lack generosity, seem narcissistic, uh, have you doing everything for them? If you basically feel like your entire job in the relationship is keeping them okay, these are the steps you need to take. And it will feel selfish in the beginning, I promise you. Some of the moves you make to correct your automatic impulse to go fix, heal, help, say yes, do everything for them, it will feel selfish to you. It will feel like something that's very close to everything you dislike. But it's only because you're moving a little bit on that spectrum toward the center point. And there can be no healthy, balanced relationship until we adjust ourselves. Earning love, yes, you are a good partner and you do take into account what your partner needs. That's different. The excessive overdoing and doing for them and fixing the relationship. And that is the overachiever, the insecure overachiever, the people pleaser. It's all in one blanket. And in order to feel fulfilled and happy, you need to have your tank filled too. And there's nothing wrong with asking for that. That little voice inside you that's always screaming out inside, that's what it's wanting. And the beauty of doing this is you begin to filter who are your friends, even simple things. Who are your friends? And why are they your friends? And you start to filter when people ask you to do something and you would have automatically said yes to make them happy or felt like you should. You begin to look at this and think, not only do I not want to go, do I actually want to be involved with that person? Do they bring joy into my life? Are they a positive force for me? You can begin on the outside where it's easier. It's a lower bar to say no. And really start to ask yourself, are these the kind of people I want in my life? And here's the beautiful thing that happens. As you do that, you begin to transform who you are and your vibe transforms. And instead of attracting the same hopeful, wonderful, generous person in a package that looks so great, and then you start to get into the relationship with them and they start to ignore you, disregard you, they're not appreciative, they expect you to do everything, they're moody, that thing that you've done so many times, it doesn't happen anymore. The people you attract into your life as you adjust and start to honor yourself and do for yourself, they're nicer and more generous. And they're really there for you. And it's going to feel uncomfortable to receive. I promise you, I've been there. It's really uncomfortable to say thank you. It's really uncomfortable to let people help you. But everybody has to learn to do this who is innately a people pleaser because there won't be the flow of give and take otherwise. I did a very long hour-and-a-half video on this, and I'll include that tag in the show notes. It was a live conversation, but pretty much a monologue answering questions. But people-pleasing can really ruin your relationships, and guaranteed it'll leave you unhappy and dissatisfied with whatever you have. So the way to really have a joyful relationship is to begin to identify these patterns, catch them as they occur, and ask yourself daily, what do I want? What do I need? What do I feel? Those little indicators of the self, the higher self talking to you, will guide you along the way to slowly begin to amend your behavior until it's more and more comfortable so that you can be the full, authentic version of yourself showing up, radiating an entirely different energetic attraction so that the people around you are in harmony with you and are your allies and real team members. I hope this helps you. If you need help with this, please chat me up, susanwinter.net. Go to the consult page. Lots of resources. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And make sure to hear this on the Susan Winter Show on the podcast. Thank you, everyone.